I mean, give you a lot of context for what I'm about to do for the next half an hour and that. But yeah, this is something I wrote, beginning of this year, in the making of Blair Babies. That kind of sums up what exactly a Blair Baby is, isn't it? But, yeah. Being Gen Z is engendered by a feeling of hopelessness in the face of a world built and shaped before our input. The life and death of countless movements in history that would have stood opposed to colonialism, capitalism, every fucking ism really occurred decades before we came to be. In the wake of the end of history, we are born into a landscape where the consolation prize we feebly and gladly accept as reparations for our participation in humanity's death is consumption. Constant consumption. We believe with nothing else to do, we must accept and alleviate the hollow hopelessness and its effects with a non-stop stream of dopamine. Few of us recognize that this is not a life. Even fewer of us seek something outside of consumption and placation. The children of post-modernity, new labour, and born in the shadows of Thatcherism represent a lost tribe that I now assign the name Blair Babies.
Welcome to Seize the Sound, where we unlock the artistry behind the art. What you just heard was the first and the intro to the second track on Lambeth-based rapper Ceebo's 16-piece project, Blair Babies.
Yes.
We are live this Thursday morning on Brixton Radio and have Ceebo himself in the studio to lead our exploration into this project. Could you, just for the uninitiated, introduce yourself?
For those that don't know, I'm a 23-year-old rapper, local to Brixton Radio. I'm from just around the corner, Stockholm local. Ceebo, just dropped my project, second mixtape, Blair Babies. I don't want to give away too much before I actually ask the questions, but brief intro.
Yes, and I've found out we need to call it a mixtape specifically. Yes. Ceebo released you released your first official track in 2022, Zonin?
Yes.
And I actually became familiar with you later through some work I did in university about independent, artists and musicians in London.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still independent? Could you just talk a little bit about what the journey's been like?
Obviously starting off not having a clue about the music industry meant that, I was putting favors where I could, I was getting people to engineer for me for £40, recording in people's bedrooms, random rooms. If you went to Warwick, you'll know about the little studio side room that they have. That's not really a side room. It's like a closet, but they have a microphone there. You know what I mean? I spent a lot of time recording there because it was free. When it came to the distribution of music, obviously, DistroKid thing, music videos, they were a no-go. You know what I mean? They were just too expensive because at this point, I was funding everything off SFE, so, and that was, the foundation of my journey. Last year I graduated, so, it was a hurry to get a grad job so that, I could fund the music thing, fund traveling, but at that point, I built enough relationships so where, I could just slum it in, my friend's studio. I would just go to, where Jim was recording at the time, record 1-2 songs. I had a link at Sony as well. After the release of my last tape, Lambeth No LA, they let me record in their studio for free for 2 months, so I just go and record as much as I could. Then obviously on the back end of this year, towards the back end of this year, when finishing the tape, I was actually recording in my frequent collaborator, Chef BK's bedroom, you know. It's only just now that like, well, not just now, but like really recently that I've got distribution. That means that like, you know, I can have a studio and all these kind of things. But yeah, like I think the story of my career just relies on like, you know, me putting as many favors as I can and like relying on my community. So yeah.
Yeah, and you also, you know, now I think you announced yesterday that you're doing a show.
Yeah.
A live concert. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. I'm doing a live show January 16th, 2026. It's my first ever headline show billed by me. We're doing it fully independent as we do most things. What do you call it? Me and my manager, we decided that, yeah, man, we're just going to run the whole thing by ourselves. We're going to have a live band. It's not my first time ever performing on stage. I've actually done quite a few performances, but like, it's my first headline. You know, I'm putting things together by yourself. Again, like, I think obviously you run into a lot more challenges based on just like, you know, how much money you have to hand. But I think the reward of like, actually putting something together, like, with just, you know, you and your team is actually mad helpful, innit? And if I didn't say it, I mean, mad helpful, mad rewarding. And if I didn't say it before, Camden Assembly. It's at Camden Assembly. So, yeah.
Okay. That's really big. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And best of luck for the performance. You mentioned when you were speaking a bit ago about like music videos and how maybe they weren't accessible to you before, but you, I believe, had 2 music videos with this mixtape.
Yeah.
Could you talk about how you were able to make that happen?
Well, the first video that came out in promotion for this tape was Juk, and at that time I wasn't doing distribution with anyone. I was literally in between work, you know. So like, I just got let go from my job, and like I'd run through my savings. So like, I was dead broke, and like the director I worked with for that video, like, you know, like he knows me well, like he's quite a close friend of mine, and like me and my manager told him like, look, like we don't have anything for this video, can you make it happen? He was like, calm in it. So we had an initial treatment. The video was gonna look like kind of different, but then he reworked it, and we ended up shooting it almost entirely on iPhone. What do you call it? So yeah, like literally, it was him with like one of them selfie sticks, iPhone. He shot all the footage. Like he used one of them, one of them apps you can use to like get a backdoor into the camera and like upgrade like the fidelity of the footage. So, you know, he ended up doing that. We literally invited some of my friends down to like a street that's around the corner from my gaff. Recorded it. He edited the whole thing by himself in like a week and a half. Yeah, so like we ended up shooting it for free. And then for the second video, by then, you know, we'd started doing distribution, so like we had the money for it. So, you know, we decided to get a camera, gaffer, things of this nature. You know, we was able to get a set that wasn't, you know, my state. So yeah, like definitely shows the difference in what I guess funding can do in it. But, you know, I think that first one definitely was just all DIY. DIY.
Okay. And what I understood from watching the music videos is that there was a lot of thought put into the visuals. In the beginning, like you had those shirts with like Ceebo written in that, you know, very particular branding and font, and like even the cover of the mixtape. Could you tell me a little about that? Did you illustrate it yourself, or was it?
No, I didn't illustrate it myself. As far as the cover, it makes reference to a cover of an old book. I think it was published in the 2000s. Or like the late 90s. It's called The Rise of New Labour, and on it, what's depicted on it, it's got Margaret Thatcher, and she's got, I believe, Tony Blair and Gordon Brown on strings, similar to the way that's depicted on the project cover. And that reference was picked by someone who, was acting as my creative director for the cover, because, you know, halfway through recording the mixtape, I realized, I don't actually know what I want the cover to look like. So, you know, and around the time I was having that thought process, the creative director, Sheldon, the creator, big up you, they actually reached out to me because like we ran into each other at a shoot for Culture Crypt, and, you know, he reached out to me and was like, yeah, I'd love to work with you on a cover. And I was like, funnily enough, actually, you know what I mean, I'm in need of one. So, you know, we had a lot of meetings, a lot of calls, and through the process of like just refining the ideas that like we would all come up with, like he came with that completely independently, and then like once he presented that cover, I knew I wanted to take it to a specific artist called Miriam. She goes by Mars the Kid on Instagram, who has like this really like abstract style, you know what I mean? I feel like she could have, like, she would bring the best out of, you know, the little prompt that or the prompts that Sheldon brought. So, you know, that's exactly how I did. Had a meeting with her, had a couple calls with her, and then, you know, within like 2 weeks, you know, she produced this painting. So yeah, like I was just lucky enough to be able to collaborate with some incredibly gifted people.
Well, that's really interesting hearing about how you were able to sort of like came across the person who actually made this artwork for you. And if you're watching, it should be on this corner of the screen. And obviously, if you want to look at it in with more detail, you can check out the actual mixtape.
Yeah, check out the mixtape on streaming. You know what I mean? You get to look at it for as long as you want to.
It's called Blair Babies. How would you define a Blair baby? And I know you've answered this question before, but just for people listening.
Yeah, for the uninitiated, innit? Yeah. I mean, a Blair baby is someone that was born between 1997 and 2007, which are the years of Blair's administration. And, you know, the reason why I singled out that era as far as a people or a generation that's like fit for examination is because, you know, I feel like we go through things like, because obviously I'm 23, so like, I was born in 2002, I'm part of that era. I feel like our generation goes through things in a unique way insofar as how we cope with the world around us. Not to say that the phenomena that we cope with specifically are new, as far as like, you know, financial burdens or poverty, economic downturn, racial tension, like all these things are things that, you know, have cropped up in the past. But I feel like, you know, the ways in which like this information is fed to us like constantly through access to social media and technology, and as well as like how that shapes the way we react to that information and the way that we behave in our communities, like I feel like that creates like a new phenomenon. And I feel like, I wanted to like talk about it because there isn't much media that addresses specifically that. So yeah, like in essence, that's what Blair Baby is.
Yeah, and what I really love about your discography is how unabashedly yourself you are, and how you speak about certain topics so vividly. And I know you have a degree in politics.
Yes.
And you know, your understanding of the world, you know, shines through in that way as well. Have you always had, you know, even as growing up, had like this willingness to speak this vividly about things around you?
Funny enough, like I'll say yes and no in it. Do you know what I mean? Yes, because like when I was young, like I always had questions about why things were the way they were. You know, like I remember like one conversation I had with my mom when I was like 5 years old or 6 years old, like mad young. I'll never forget. Yeah, like I remember on the news, like, you know, me and my mom and my pops, like we must have been sat down watching the news, and like, you know, they was talking about I think like a famine, and I was like I remember I asked like completely completely like straight face, like I wasn't joking. I was like, right, like how come there's people that like don't have water? Yeah? Like why can't we just give them water? Why are we charging them water? Do you know what I mean? Like I remember my mom, like she's like her reaction, like it mystified me at the time, but like I understand it now, like because like I was getting heated. I was like, right, like we can't just take water from here in buckets and like, you know what I mean, just send it to all the people that don't have water. Like, I was getting vexed, and like she turned to me, like she started crying and laughing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I think that just stands to show that like, I've always had questions about the world, and do you know what I mean? Like I've always wondered why things were the way they were, but I didn't really have the political framework within which to like actually see the world. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't understand that all the systems that come to play and like interact with each other to shape, you know, the lives that, you know, everyone lives in different ways. You know, like it wasn't until like I actually started studying, you know, sociology in sixth form and then politics and sociology at uni that like I really got a grasp of that. So yeah.
And yeah, like you mentioned how your like locality gave you the framework to like understand all these like questions you had, and you obviously reference where you're from a lot in your music as well. what would you say, like, your community and where you're from, like, means to you and, you know, your music?
I think what it means to me on a personal level is everything, you know, like, as anyone is, like, I'm shaped completely by, you know, the experiences and the people that I've met and encountered, you know, in my environment. You know, I think Lambeth as well, like I always say, this is like such a melting pot. It's such a place where, you know, especially when I was growing up, like, you know, there was no separation between, okay, this is what you do, this is what I do. You know, like we all pulled, you know, our traditions, our rituals, our sayings all together. Do you know what I mean? And like there was a real exchange. It was a proper multicultural thing, you know. And I think being in that, like from a child and like seeing literally everyone buy into it. Like it wasn't just the children that did that. It was our parents, our uncles, our aunties, like everyone just like had a belief in that exchange being a good thing, you know, being in that, and also seeing the way that communities like mine were impacted by, you know, policies that were put in, you know, like by government, and like the reasoning behind it, you know, I think it completely shaped the way I see the world, you know, because it's like, for better or for worse, like my life would be completely different if I wasn't from Lambeth. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, there would be set things that like I wouldn't have gone through, I wouldn't have had to experience had I not been from Lambeth, had I not been from the class that I am on a socio-economic sense. But same way, like I said, you know, because of that socio-economic class in and of itself, and because, you know, we were grouped into housing blocks and all these things, like we was able to take part in an exchange of cultures that like, you know, maybe I wouldn't have had I grown up under different circumstances. And I feel like my music, a lot of it is concerning circumstance and how it shapes people, you know, because I think I'm a very big believer in, you know, like we are where we're from. And as far as like, you know, like the things that mold us in our initial years go on to affect us for the rest of our lives. And I feel like what Lambeth has done to and for me is perfect testament to that. So, yeah.
What I think could give us a better idea about what Ceebo was talking about is actually watching one of the music videos you put out alongside the song. So what you will hear shortly will be Pentecost of Living by Ceebo.
I ain't never played a part of fool. Daddy in the courts, I went tryna bake a carnival. They think I'm soft car, I made an article. They don't know my dog was out here with a bladed article. Ask God, will you take me in for giving, man? I was tryna hit a stain.
I do want it to be known that I'm hosting this and sort of producing it at the same time.
Yeah.
If it's a bit staccato, that's probably why. Yeah, could you tell me about that music video? Because you spoke about Joke already.
Yeah. As far as Pentecost of Living, it came around like in a bit of a whirlwind. I knew from when I recorded it, it was one of the songs I recorded in like the later stages of the recording process for Blair Babies. So it was like one of the last like 5 or 6 songs I recorded. And I knew I wanted to do a video from it like relatively soon after recording it. So, you know, I brought it to Mo, and, you know, Mo, that's like my creative director as far as all things visual, you know, anything I'm doing that's like front facing, like, you know, like he has a hand in it. So big ups to Mo, like, you know, took the song, came back with a treatment of how the video, he came out with quite a few treatments actually. There was one version of a treatment where, you know what I mean, it was going to lean more into, the political, but, you know, for the things that we needed as far as like set and producer and director, like we couldn't get it. So we had to pivot from that to a treatment that resembles what's going on in the video. And obviously like at this time, we had the budget for it, you know, because again, we had started distributing. So like I said, you know, we went out, or I say Mo went out and, you know, seeked out the set, you know, like he set that up. He got the gaffer and the DOP that we worked with on the day, you know, like 2 Colombian guys, you know, very, very good. So shout out them. You know, and he got like one expensive camera, like, do you know what I mean? Like, the camera was spenny, like when that invoice for that video hit, like I just had to shake my head, like, you know. But yeah, like we definitely had a lot more budget to work with than, you know, £0 for joke, you know what I mean? So yeah, like, it allowed us to do more as far as like the actual quality of the video. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think you've spoken about the sort of like visual production of the album. What about like sonically? What was the most fun track for you to record or work on?
I think the most fun track, you know, as I say, the most fun track to like actually finish working on was 018. I'll say that, yeah. It's actually a song that like, it took a few months to get put together. Because initially, like, I recorded the first verse of 018, and like I had the first draft, like the first little skeleton I made with a producer that, you know, I'm cool with, called Nadi. We made it in March.
Okay.
So we made it in March, yeah. I didn't touch it. You know, like I knew that, like, yeah, Carmen, this song, like, if we continue working on it, like, it's gonna be like one of them ones. So Carmen, I left it alone. Then like June, I got in the studio again with Nadi. And then I recorded the second verse, but then the beat, I didn't touch it. And I felt like the beat was like, it was lacking in it. So, what'd you call it? In the latter half of recording, this is when I started recording out of my friend BK's gaff. Yeah. And BK, producer, artist, engineer, like he can do it all.
Yeah.
So, I asked BK,
yeah,
can you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Can you touch this up? And BK is someone that like I'm quite close with. Like me and him speak like every single day. And so like when I'm at his house, yeah, it's literally like I'm just spending the day with like, you know, like one of my best friends. So like the circumstances under which we recorded that song, it was very much, yeah, like we spent like 6 hours just doing nothing, just watching YouTube and eating or something, like, do you know what I mean? And then we got to that track. It was, and then obviously on that track as well is Jim Legacy. And he came during that hour, and I mean that session of us just baking off, and you know, like it was just all three of us, like, just, you know what I mean, just baking off, just talking, like having fun. And like when it came to the actual making of the song, like we weren't thinking about it too much. You know what I mean? Like we were just like, oh yeah, like what if we did this idea? Like that would be sick, right? Like, oh yeah, calm down. Like, what if we did this? You know, like it was very much unrestricted as far as like the creative process, which like, you know, it reminded me of like, you know, being a kid again, and I'm not really thinking about, you know, what makes sense or what doesn't. I just coloring out in and out of the lines as you please. So I think the energy that was in the room, as far as like just being a very lax, you know, carefree session, as well as the way in which we approached the song itself, like being, you know, like reckless abandon essentially, made it like such a fun song to record. So yeah, definitely, I'll say that's one of the songs. Yeah,
it's always the best when you know you're in the zone and it's just happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you be open to playing 018 right now?
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Right.
Back then I was bumping section, bumping train and bumping brethrens. Yeah, I knew that pain was essence, but I weren't doing no gigs like Essence. CC was a broken boy, 018 was a broken man. You went there with a pain and grief and came to me with a broken shank. I sat and prayed for hope and that. Drink and smoke, we coped with that. Cut off the prayer, you know CC hit the rose in fact. Concrete, no roses act. Just one help mumsy with rent. On my step with roses black. We know too well that Jesus wept. Does he weep for the poor? Or the man that sleep on floors? Or the man that lost their pots, then lost their dogs, not keeping scores? All I had to my name was scores. Lambeth nigga, that's to my core. I air them and that thing comes forced. My story's blue like Michael Ward. Keys, they did get torn. Made me ask, where we born? Just to grow up, then get bored. All the fuckeries that I saw. I don't want no white awards. My uncle told me keep it black. That was before my uncle fucked with a white and started heating crack. In 018, I dreamed of having an C was patterning flows. My boy was patterning smoke. P P's the catalyst, bro. Young G's ain't on man of the house, it's more like man of the road. AJ and Puma trackies, hats and scarves get used as bandies. Use of Maggie, them get stupid Aggie. Moving clueless Aki, we grieve the students Aki. OG's recruited gladly. Man no talk heart in my ends, man died off a rumour Aki. Back when F was AC, and we love that tune from Drake and Baby. Pops was Kanye crazy, choice was slim and shady. So what was the aftermath? Block her living like kettle bath. You come to the ends of kettle, I ain't shot with a man off a petrol. In 018, I dreamed of having an O. C was patterning flows, my boy was patterning smoke. P's the catalyst, bro. Young G's ain't on man of the house, it's more like man of the road. In 018, dreamed of having an O. C was patterning flows, my boy was patterning smoke. P's the catalyst, bro. Young G's ain't on man of the house, it's more like man of the road. In 018, dreamed of having a, C was patterning flows, my boy was patterning smoke.
Music. And we're back. That was really fun to listen to. You said you sort of developed this album over 24, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the recording process for it started literally like one of the last few days of October, and it finished in September this year. So yeah.
So it was like proper like 12 months-ish.
Yeah.
Okay. And how would you say this project develops on Lambeth Not LA and like that?
I think first of all, like my performance as a vocalist, like definitely takes a few steps forward in comparison to Lambeth Not LA. Not to say that like Lambeth Not LA is lacking, but more so that, you know, I push myself more, like I push the envelope as far as, you know, whether it pertains to delivery, cadences, lyricism, flows. I think, you know, my approach to songwriting as well. Like I think as a writer, like I'm succinct, yet also I'm still, like I'm still fleshing out, you know, complex things and complex themes. I also think as well, like from a musical standpoint, Lambeth Not LA and Blue K, like they're both like shows of like my taste as far as what I'm willing to do as an artist, you know, like what I sound best on. But I think Blair Babies is really like an expansion of the soundscape that I established with Lambeth Not LA and Blair Babies, because, you know, I think it has the acoustic elements in set parts for Blair Babies, but it expands on it by adding, you know, the more electronic, the more sparse soundscape. And yeah, like I guess, you know, I've seen a journalist describe it as, you know, avant-garde. Yeah. And I think, you know, that's a pretty all right description. You know what I mean? I'll take that. So yeah, like I think it's an expansion and of like, you know, the mold that I've you know, set for myself. So yeah, like I think it's kind of like if I combined all the things best about myself as an artist and I just see what I mean, blew it up. So yeah.
Oh, and speaking of your taste and what like kind of production you're working with, you have like these kind of like gospel-y elements, like chanty elements in some of your songs. And where does that come from for you?
For me, like I was raised in the church. You know what I mean? I was raised as a Pentecostal Christian, so like, and I'm still practicing. So that's definitely something that's like, it's like hardwired into me at this point. You know what I mean? Very much. That being my main entry into just like listening to music. It shaped the way that I see the process of making it. But then also as well, like, you know, coming into my own as an artist and like going back and studying other artists that like I really respect, who also weave that into their artistry, and seeing like the effect that it had, you know, people like your Kanye Wests, for example, like that also has had like even more of an effect as far as like the way in which I use it. So yeah, and I also think as well, like just on the implicit level, like I think it communicates a lot without me having to bash, you know what I mean, like the point over people's heads as far as like, you know, my beliefs and like the way I interact with them. So yeah.
Yeah, and like you said before, like where you're from and how you're raised is sort of everything.
Huge influence, so you know what I mean?
Where would you say your sound is headed? I know you just released this, so maybe you're not thinking of like next 5 mixtapes. But is there anything that recently inspired you and you were like, oh, I want to go somewhere with that?
If I was to say where my sound is headed, it's funny enough because I've actually started working on new music. But if I was to say where my sound is headed, I'm definitely, influenced by I'm being influenced by house records.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A lot of electronic music, especially from the UK, from, the mid to late 2000s, a couple records from the early 2000s, just the other day I was listening to Basement Jaxx, you know what I mean? But I've also been listening to a lot of Graduation as well, Kanye West, because I think, obviously that's a record that's heavily influenced by house, you know what I mean? Specifically French house, and, a whole host of genres, and seeing the way that he incorporated it into hip hop, you know what I mean? I think going into my next project, I want to do something similar insofar as the canon of UK rap, because I think UK rap is something that's UK rap and electronic music they're this, you know what I mean? Whether it be grime, garage, jungle, drill, you know what I mean? I think it all exists within the canon of electronic music, innit? So I guess in some ways it's a step into, a step back into that, but I want to communicate it in a way that's very much relevant, very much fresh, and crossing over that electronic influence with contemporary genres or contemporary subgenres, I should say, as far as it pertains to rap, and just seeing what I get out of that. So yeah,
that sounds really exciting. And if you were to look back and say what kind of sonically inspired you so far, what sort of artists would you credit that to?
Oh, sure, I can do a lot off top. I'll say sonically, again, Kanye West, Kendrick Lamar, Dizzy Rascal, Vince Staples, Wretch 32, Nines, Pot of Paper, Harlem Spartans, and that movement as far as drill, 6-7. I think off top, Outkast as well. Outkast. Yeah.
Definitely. And so from what I've read about you, there's a lot of people saying that, oh, this is the future of UK rap and the voice of the new generation. Is there any new artist that you've come across where you're like, oh, they're onto something that's really good? It could even just be your mates you want to shout out,
Nat N4T, he dropped a project earlier this year in August, Ghana Must Go. I think it's some of the most forward-thinking music that we've heard in the UK. I think outside of the UK as well, I think Kia, she just dropped Hook's Law. That's someone who I've always thought is just so forward-thinking, and you know what I mean, proper pushing the envelope. And then back to this scene, I guess Chef BK as well. Someone who I mates with, but genuinely as far as what he's doing musically, I think it's just completely unexpected in the canon of or unprecedented in the canon of UK underground historically. I also there's a couple producers as well that I'm really fascinated by. So Zoja, Capo, Vuko, all producers who I think are really carving out a soundscape that I think the UK hasn't quite seen in a form that they're shaping it into. So I respect their artistry so much because of that. So yeah, definitely some people that I feel are shaping the future as much as I am. So yeah.
And I've seen Chef BK credited as a producer on a lot of your songs, and you mention him a lot. How did you guys meet? Are you just childhood friends, or is it
Oh, it's funny. We actually met around this time last year. Yeah. The way we met, it's super funny. I must have been at work one day, middle of the work day. And the way that my work was, I would often be in the office by myself. You know what I mean? Because I worked on a freelance basis. And Jim Legacy, he texted me and he was like, "Oh, what you doing? What? You don't come? Link me." I mean, I miss you. I was like, "Yeah." I wanted to blow off work anyway. Do you know what I mean? It was 3 o'clock. Yeah. Usually I stay till 5. I'm trying to cut out anyway. Do you know what I mean? So calm in it. I'm thinking that I'm just gonna go to his house. I've been to his house before at this point, so I'm thinking, he just wants me to go to his house. He sent me some random address in the East I've never been to. He's like, yeah, come here. I was like, calm in it. So I've gone. It's a studio. And inside studio, he's there with a rapper called Odds Money, and Chef BK is there producing the session. So like, that's where I've met him. And like, we hit it off like almost instantly.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we like immediately fell into like the dynamic that we have now of like busting jokes and like, you know, just doing whatever in the studio. So it was like, yeah, it was really just meeting through a mutual friend in gym. And then, yeah.
That's really cute that you guys had this friendship and it led, and you guys also created this project.
Yeah, definitely.
Together. You know, you mentioned Jim Legacy. Could you tell me something about the other producers?
Yeah, on this project, I worked with Afro Surrealist, Realist, Londo, Rambo, Soul Cloney, Parked Up, and these are all people that I've met either over the course of this year or like last year. And like I worked with like a way more expansive team than last year, relatively, or my last project. You know, like my last project was like maybe like 3 or 4 producers on it, whereas this there's like 20. And yeah, like as far as like all their production styles, like a lot of them sit in different pockets. You know, like, you know, someone like Realist, you know, the stuff that he produces sits in, you know, the underground pocket, but then it's so influenced by dancehall and you know what I mean, like African genres. But yet the stuff he was doing on this, it was, what do you call it? It was more of the electronic kind of thing. You know, then someone like Afro Surrealist, you know, that's someone who, you know, if you've heard his project by British, if you've heard his beat tape, Reworks, you know, the last project before by British, like very much sits in that, you know, the mellow grime kind of thing, you know what I mean? That's the pocket he sat in. Again, Soul Cloney, that's a guitarist, you know, what do you call it? Parked Up, you know, that's someone that, you know, like he does a lot of work for like rappers across the globe. And it's like, with this different hodgepodge of sounds, you know what I mean? Like, and like people that work with different sounds, it made it so that when it came to the songs that I wanted to make here, every song was pushing the envelope as far as like, I guess, genre blending, you know what I mean? So I'm really grateful to have worked with the mix of producers that I did, because, you know, they see music like as one thing, you know what I mean? As far as like, they don't really see a separation between, okay, calm, this is this, and like, I don't do this, I do this, you know. They're very much willing to pull from different places and, you know, mix it all in one in order to get a new product. And like, you know, that lent itself to Blair Baby sounding the way it does.
Yeah, and do you think it was better to have like more hands on deck, as it were, for this project compared to your previous ones?
Definitely. Because like, honestly, like, I'm kind of a people person, innit? Do you know what I mean? So like I don't really have a problem with like, you know what I mean? And like a lot of these people I met for the first time, you know what I mean? And then Carmen, like we just did these songs. But I also think as well, like having a lot of people on deck meant that, you know, like I had a lot of things to pick from. Okay. So like with Lambeth Not LA, like again, like I said, it's only 4 or 5 producers on it. So it had no choice but to be very uniform in sound. Like being expansive, you know, unless you're working with set kind of producers, which I wasn't at the time, like it's kind of hard to achieve. Whereas, you know, with Blair Babies, because I was working with so many people, like the soundscape could literally be shaped into whatever I wanted it to, you know, so like it gave me a lot more flexibility in what I was doing sonically. So, you know, like I definitely preferred that about it. So yeah, definitely, like I think, you know, it was great to be working with that many people.
When you first started out, did you like did you like produce your music yourself?
No, that's a very, very recent thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I started producing like October.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like when you wrote, was it more just like focused on the lyricism of it?
Yeah. Like I was very much like, when I started, like I'll just find a tight beat on YouTube, rap on it, get someone to engineer it. Calm, that goes on streaming platforms. Like that's literally my recording process up until 2023. And even then, like, it didn't stop in 2023. Like that's just when I started working with other producers. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
How old were you when you like, I guess, started writing?
Yeah. Like as far as when I started writing raps, I was 16.
Okay.
So at that point, like it wasn't even like in my head that it'd be a career one day. Like I was just doing it, you know, as a form of expression because it was fun to do. But yeah, as far as like when I started releasing music, I was 19. So, you know, a bit of a gap between the two.
I think it would be useful at this point to listen to the track that was is the namesake of the album. Would you say Blair Babies is the title track, or
that's the title track.
It's the title track. Okay, cool. So let's listen to Blair Babies by Ceebo.
Let's get into it.
Smoking, drinking bare lately. That's life for the Blair baby. Recently, me, I don't care lately. That's life for the Blair baby. My vision have been getting bare hazy. That's life for the Blair baby. No point in crying unfair, baby. That's life for the Blair baby. I wanted to be street infantry, car thought that was the thing to be. All that I'd seen from infancy, big dogs had shanks in their inventory. Marjay stressed over bills and debts. I'm chasing a house on a hill, but yeah, I ain't trying to be told I'm chasing my dreams. It seems like God ain't revealed them yet. Car life so far been a nightmare, breathing night air, nothing ain't right here. I can't say that I see sit like Blair, close on our senators for the prisons. Muted the song that made us dance, so why you surprised that crime is a rhythm? Yes, I got love for the guys in the prison. Why? I'm just describing a vivid fact that between a mobile and me with a fat whack, it's been a slight little difference. I ain't gifted, nah, man's lucky. I ain't clear, but man's transparent. It's one in a million, my nigga, there's only so much you can do with talent. Only so much you can do with talent. Only so much you can do with smoking, drinking bare lately. That's life for the Blair baby. Recently, me, I don't care lately. That's life for the Blair baby. My vision has been getting bare hazy. That's life for the Blair baby. No point in crying unfair, baby. That's life for the Blair baby. Left on my Jones, I try being nausea. I can't say it's the same for my dogs here. How long can you watch your march have a hard year till you start moving that hard here? Till you try cope with stress. Watch my pots chain smoke cigarettes. Known as a mess to his closest friends, so really addicts the closest bet. Rap team feels like a rope on net. What would a dream mean to an insomniac or a fiend that's peddling rock man? Block hand, I was a team with a wrong hand. Just trying to ace, but life got long man. Irony, youths did roll with a ruler. Backwards niggas ain't trying to be known as a loser, so they get known as a shooter. But game gets rigged from the start. Dice gets loaded, and that's the truth. You don't, your Marjay gon' get evicted. You do it, you know you're gonna end up a loser. That's life for the Blair baby. That's life for the Blair baby. Tell me, real life for the Blair baby. Smoking, drinking bare lately. That's life for the Blair baby. Recently, me, I don't care lately. That's life for the Blair baby. My vision has been getting bare hazy. That's life for the Blair baby. No point in crying unfair, baby. That's life for the Blair baby.
And we're back. What would you say, like, specifically producing the track, like Blair Baby? Was it like an idea that you developed over time, or did it just like come to you like that? It's really catchy and it's really like pointed, which I like.
Thank you. As far as that song, it literally came together like a fever dream. Like, that again was one of the last songs I recorded for the project. It was me, Jed Soul, and Zeno. We spent like a good chunk of the session working on Buzzball Summer, which they're both on. Like I got them to do additional production on it, like, you know, they was filling out the track, and that took genuinely like a couple hours, and then we had like an hour and a half left in the studio, and with that an hour and a half here, like we made Blair Babies. Like, we made the title track. Like, they made the beat in like an hour, and like, while I was making the beat, I was writing away like furious. Like, it was coming like water. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't have any clue what I was gonna say up until, you know, I was hearing the beat. I was writing, and then around the time that they finished, I just finished writing. Okay. So then, you know, like, we had literally like maybe like 30 minutes or like 40 minutes before they was gonna kick us out of the studio. So like, I got on the mic, I recorded it in 2 takes, you know, literally because I didn't want to waste time. And yeah, like, it came together just like that. So we finished it on the day we made it. So yeah, crazy track. Because songs usually don't come together like that for me.
That's really cool that it all came together. And it's really interesting hearing about your process as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any kind of like weird like rituals or things you do, you know, in the studio?
You know what, yeah? Like, it depends. Because like, if I'm, like, first I'll go off like what emotion I'm feeling that day, innit? Okay. Do you know what I mean? So like, if I'm feeling like lighthearted or happy, like, I will do things throughout the day leading up to my session in order to like maximize that, so that by the time I get to the studio, like, do you know what I mean? So like, calm it. Like, if I'm feeling lighthearted, I will listen to, you know, the album that like I loved when I was 7. Do you know what I mean? Like, which is like, I don't know, like graduation or something. Do you know what I mean? Or that was more when I was 5, but either way, like, you know, like I'll be listening to that on repeat just to keep it at here. You know, I'll be eating set foods. You know what I mean? You know, just to get it to that when I get in the studio, like it's literally just, you know what I mean, straight from brain to song. And then, you know, inversely, like if I'm feeling more introspective, more, you know what I mean, like I'll listen to music that forces me to like sit with myself, you know. I won't be doing too much, like I'll just be sitting with my feelings, okay, how do I feel, why am I thinking this, you know, like I may even go for a walk, you know, just to like proper like cement them feelings. So, you know, as far as like my process, like I wouldn't say I have like any weird rituals to speak of, yeah, but like I always try and like bring the feeling.
Yeah, capitalize on the emotion.
Yeah. Because I'm very much someone that like, you know, I'm inspired by that, you know, so yeah.
Which track on this project would you say did you have to like work on the most, or you know, because you said you really like sit with the feeling and the introspection. So what like would you say had like sort of the most thought behind it, or the most effort from your end?
You know what's funny enough? People never expect it when I say it. Buzzball Summer was actually the hardest song to record.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's like 8 different versions of that song. You know, because again, like that's a song that I started with Soul Cloney, and like its original version was just the guitar and like, you know, some initial drums and my first verse. Like there wasn't even a hook yet, because I recorded like, you know, a little scratch demo in April, I want to say. Yeah, I left it alone. I kept trying to tell everyone, guys, this is going to be a hit when I finish this. Like, but you know what I mean? No one believed in me, innit? So I was like, calm it, don't worry. Like, I'm going to get the right people for the job. That's when I ended up enlisting Jen and Zeno. And then, like, we recorded it. But like, we didn't have the stem, so like, we had to stem split. And then it sounded weird. And then I brought it to BK. And then like, he was trying his hardest. Like, we sat there for like 2-3 hours trying to like, you know, fine tune the mixing. And then we had to re-record it. And then we had to remix it. Like there's like 4 different mixes, a couple different masters. You know, so it was like, yeah, just the process of like getting it right. Cause you know what I mean? Like, even like the way I was vocalizing on my track, like, you know what I mean? I kind of had to push myself, like, you know, to make it listenable. So yeah, that was definitely the hardest to record for sure.
And I feel like your effort paid off because it's a great track.
Thank you so much.
You have, is this a feature MP3? I just need to ask.
Yes.
Could you tell me about this artist, because I really haven't looked into it and I'd like to hear it from you.
That's my manager.
Really?
Yeah. She doesn't want to do music as a career, but like she loves singing. She loves it. Like she loves music. What do you call it? She just doesn't want to pursue it because like she wants to keep loving it, and like she sees how tedious my career can be at times, innit? So yeah, like it's been like a running theme now, innit? Like every project I have, like I'll get her to do something on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like for this song, originally this was going to be an interlude into a song by the same name, Shower, but I never got around to finishing that song. You know, it's like I think I just scrapped it. And like, as far as this interlude, like my manager, like she just wrote it independently. Like she, you know, she had the beat and she's like, yeah, calm in it. Like I'm gonna write to this. She went to the studio to record something else with someone else, and like she wrote that, she recorded it there, and then she sent it to me, and I loved it. And then I got what do you call it? Like what she recorded it on sounds way different though. It was a lot more Afro swingy. And then I got Zeno to like completely rework the track. So yeah, like, and then that ended up coming out of it.
I mean, she has a lovely voice.
Thank you.
Of course. Would you be open to playing the track? Because I do want people to hear.
Yeah.
Of course. This is a shower interlude.
I just want your hand, baby. Fill me with your hands, baby. Every time it's tonight, now that you call me. Never gonna feel me so nice and refreshing. And your affection is not like you want to. Now the attention feels too again. Feel it again. See it again. Again. Yeah, feel it again. See it again.
As we approach the sort of tail end of this session, if you had to say something to somebody before they've like sat down and listened to this mixtape, what would it be?
Don't listen passively. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like oftentimes because of the ease with which like we can access music, like a lot of people just put it on in the background and like, you know, just listen just to listen, innit? But yeah, no, I actively like try and sit with the music, you know, because even if you don't like everything on the project, like, that's fine, innit? But like, you know, I think I want people to approach my music with as much earnest as like I approach the making process of it, innit? Because like, a lot of thought went into it. So, you know, whether you like it or whether you don't, like, it really doesn't matter. But like, just as far as like putting thought into coming to the conclusion that you do, and you know, like the feelings that are evoked when you do listen to the music, like, I think that's what matters to me as an artist, innit? So yeah, I think, you know, approach it like body of work, you know what I mean? So yeah,
that's really insightful, especially because today you've shown us like the thought you've put into it. So I think active listening in all situations really is usually recommended. Speaking of listening, when I was listening to this, I really liked the tracks Do It All Again and How Many Training Days towards the tail end. Can you say, do you have any specific insight into that? Because I just really want to know what your thoughts were behind that.
I guess like with Do It All Again specifically, that's a track that like it's hopeful in a sad way almost. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, no, like, you know, all of this happened to us and all of these things. Like it's almost like it peels back the layers fully. Like, yeah, this is going on in my life, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't change it for anything. Do you know what I mean? Even though it's been a bit trying. And I think, you know, How Many Training Days, I feel like it kind of sums up, you know, like it kind of drives home the point that I'm trying to make throughout the tape. And it's like, you know, this is what I'm coping with. You know what I mean? This is why, you know, I'm indulging in all these vices. And like, I'm trying to distract myself. I'm trying to, you know, numb myself. It's like this underlying despair that pushes, you know what I mean, me to engage with these things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just doing it to do it. And it's like, yeah, like, as far as despair, obviously, like, the track that follows it, like, you know, like, I put it at the end of the track list because it's like, you know, it only really resonates the way it does if you hear everything that comes before it. I feel like, you know, even just as we move through life, and like, you know, you never, like, in my experience anyway, like, you never really have like your hardest thoughts at the start of the day. It's always like when you're in bed, like when you're just about to go to sleep, that's when like, you really start considering things, innit? And it's like, you know, it's like you spent the whole day doing whatever you was doing, good or bad, but it presented a distraction. And it's like when it's like, you know, a complete moment of stillness, like there's nothing to distract yourself. You're just about to go to bed. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, you're left with your thoughts, your honest thoughts. And, you know, yeah, like I feel like I wanted to reflect that, you know, in like the winding down of the track list. So yeah.
Thank you so much for all your lovely insight into your project and all your words today. Yeah, I think that's everything for me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, it was a pleasure to have you here. Where can we find you?
All social media platforms, Ceebo, S-Weezy, that is SWEEZY, on IG, TikTok, Twitter. On YouTube, I'm just Ceebo. All streaming platforms, I'm available, Ceebo. I mean, if you're a SoundCloud person, I'm also there. I have my own website, weareCeebo.com. You know what I mean? All things Ceebo you can find there. Yeah. That's
lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To end this, I'm just going to let the last 3 tracks of this piece play out. But I would always recommend to listen to it yourself, using everything Ceebo's spoken about today. Yeah, this is Do It All Again, How Many Training Days, and Ceebo 316.
Lost in the world like Yada, nothing ain't changed that. Man know the name on the playback. Real spill niggas ain't changed that. Living in the same flat, Southside dance in the rain, man. Got grief on my heart, Lord save, man. Young lost pops on blocks, I assimilate. Didn't do dinner days, plates had food though. Dreams of who blows, who go, and a new rose. But the money can't save, man, save way. South, we still about seas in the same place. They say that it's peace and the pain way. So I guess when I scream, it's a safe place. And my cray, got me yelling Mayday. Maintain, just tryna stay same. Paydays are the main aim. In the 8th maze melee with the same pain till I change fate. Write my wrongs with a pen. Hit the road, and repent. I meant every word I said, but I take it all back just to see you again. Reminisce on our brothers in the pen. Try know we want freedom for them, even though we're never free from the ends. Go back, I do it all again. Aunt McGee died, my G hopped in a G-Lad, trying to scheme on making teens die. I weren't mis-schemed, but I was seen by the blocks, just trying to flow and get my schemes right. Back when heads dropped golden boot, and the chosen route was an old to move. Back when open hearts for block babes led to open wounds. A long day when a babe gets to poking you. It's funny how death seemed better than living. Same time being poor was no better than prison. To the young mind that was fucked one time, Jones from the toast, would they let me fuck one time? In the pics, one orders and gun signs bravado. Gully like Movado, I hugged the block, I ain't get it from my Mars though. Had a light smile, we were living kinda dark though. Write my wrongs with a pen. Hit the road, and repent. I meant every word I said, but I take it all back.